Hello everyone, welcome back to Weaving Web3. We are at ETH Warsaw and I have some really exciting guests for you. I have Alon, the CEO of SSV Labs, and today we're going to be talking about what is SSV Network and why should we be excited about it.
Sure. So I've been in the space for quite a while, since 2013 actually. I'm an engineer by trade, so I look at everything as a technical problem. And with Ethereum staking, it's already been 3 and something years since mainnet, or even close to 4 years now, for the Bitcoin chain mainnet. It's grew quite significantly. Today it's just under 1.1 million validators on Ethereum. It's quite a significant portion of ETH at stake today. And so with size comes a lot of challenges and complexities, and SSV really tries to solve some of them. SSV is a DVT network. DVT stands for Distributed Validators. The idea is that it started out life as a research project by the Ethereum Foundation, where the idea was we can take an Ethereum validator, and instead of having one entity running it, we can now have a group of them. They use consensus protocols and threshold signatures in order to actually coordinate and then sign on behalf of the validator. And what we did, we took it and built a whole network out of it. The idea is that you have today close to 1,000 operators on SSV. They're interconnected with a P2P network and synchronized and governed by a smart contract. And it's a completely permissionless network. Anyone can come and really choose operators and then start running their validators at scale. We're working with a lot of developers out there, including Lido, Etherfi, Renzo, Puffer, institutional stakers, etc., etc. They're using SSV as their infrastructure, and SSV really is kind of the combination of infrastructure and the pursuit of extra rewards. So there's extra rewards to be gained in SSV, and we have some interesting plans going forward with it. But the idea is really to introduce a superiority of DVT to the Ethereum ecosystem and have as many validators running a DVT setting, because we strongly believe this will really enforce and reinforce Ethereum as a chain.
Amazing. So what's the advantage of using DVT? Why should, like, let's say a developer, people watching this potentially being like, why should I maybe build and use your infrastructure?
Yeah. So it starts with the validator itself. As with size, where Ethereum in general really cares about stuff like censorship resistance, liveness, security, and the fact that there's potentially less and less coordination or effects that unfold if one or more entities get hurt. And so if you have really centralized entities, if they get hurt, hacked, or even just plain old, mistake by a developer, that really can create a cascading effect. And so that's where we started. But because we've built a network out of it, all of a sudden it becomes like a developer hub, because then you have tooling in it, you have explorers, and you have different advanced cryptography tools you can use like DKG and so on. So it's more than just a decentralized staking protocol. It's a network for developers to build their application, with a focus that we also offer higher rewards in different ways, and so there's also that incentive.
Oh, so you're basically ensuring that there's a more, let's say, fair advantage for builders and users as well.
It's going to be easier for them to build. It's going to be easier for them to scale and build it correctly in a decentralized way, and their validators, their very validators, will earn more rewards as well.
Oh, that's amazing. That's what we need to reward the community for, those securing the network as well. What do you think, or what would you like to be seeing built using your technology? What kind of things you'd be really excited to be like, oh, it's really hard to build on other chains or with the current technologies we have, but be like, this is an excellent opportunity for people to be like, I want to see this, or experiments?
So what I see as an evolution, Ethereum started with kind of base staking. Almost from day one, we had MEV integrated, or not rather integrated, but like utilized from almost for day one at very high rates. We're now seeing obviously the shift, or not the shift, but like the introduction of shared security with with restaking, and so that introduces additional interesting applications for validators. We're seeing now also the evolution of validator commitments with pre-confirmations, base sequencing, and so on. So I think that staking as a concept is ever evolving. It introduces more and more layers to it, and I think that it's an asset class which is very underutilized. We can do much more with Ethereum validators besides just securing Ethereum itself. Ethereum is a living organism, right? It evolves continuously, but also it evolves in an interesting direction where Ethereum itself puts settlement and data availability as its core, and basically wants others to build a lot of the other things. So L2s for scale, different, I call them out of protocol services, oracles, and co-processors, and et cetera, et cetera. All of those ultimately bring value and services into Ethereum. And so I believe that validators on Ethereum can play a major role in that as well.
Okay, so if I was, let's say, a builder watching this, how would you like me to leverage your technology?
So super simple. You go and read our docs. You can cut your development time by a significant margin. Again, because it's a network, so you integrate once and you can explore almost 1,000 different operators. It's very easy to scale, and you're building it on kind of the next gen infrastructure versus kind of the legacy, which is much more centralized and prone to failures. And so yeah, that's super simple. There's a very big development community, active Discord, active Twitter. And so definitely encourage any developer out there building liquid staking protocols, institutional staking, and even more advanced stuff into the worlds of shared security and validator commitments. Definitely to reach out, and we would love to assist.
You mentioned about institutional staking. How are the current challenges that institutions face that kind of like prevents them engaging with some of the DeFi and like ecosystem?
So I would maybe phrase it differently. I think that there's different types of institutions and different needs. What I see now is that, especially with the ETFs in the US, I do see them start to prepare for stakeable ETFs.
Yes.
And in that, they are very much interested in decentralization and distributing their risk, not for the sake of censorship resistance and stuff like that, but just purely as a way to reduce risk. And so DVT and SSV can play a major role in that because they can do that much easier than integrating a bunch of different service providers. It also has different security properties because you know, if you have 4 staking providers, each one with 25% of your stake, that's distributed, but it's siloed. That means that if something fails, still 25% of your stake is at risk. If you're using something like SSV and DVT, each validator is distributed between 4 entities. And so if one of them fails, really nothing happens because you need some threshold in order to create any harm. And so even in that angle, I think it makes a lot of sense. It's just purely a better and more superior way of doing staking, low risk, easier development cycle, and more reward. So it makes a lot of sense.
Well, and that's definitely something we need in the space, that security and making sure, like you said, in that scenario, if things go wrong, and if you have people to essentially signatures to protect the users from, like, let's say, losing their funds, it is something that we definitely need, right?
It's specifically for an L1 like Ethereum. It needs to be the bedrock of security for everything that is built on top of it. So that's why concepts like decentralization and distribution are so critical. Censorship resistance, of course, are so critical because if you don't invest in that, any failure can be really catastrophic. It's not a single thing being hacked. It's a whole ecosystem. So definitely something to put a lot of resources into.
That's really interesting. So if, like, is there anything that you want to get across that maybe I haven't asked, or like something you really think that anyone watching this is like, this is like a key takeaway of SSV?
Yeah, for me is that if you are building something interesting in the staking world, which encompasses now much more than just staking, you should definitely start building it on DVT and in specific SSV. It's going to be much easier to build, to scale, and ultimately, just purely from a technical point of view, a more robust setup. And that includes anything from plain vanilla staking all the way to staking in different protocols like Lido or Rocket Pool or EtherFi or Renzo, restaking world. If you're an institution, definitely. And also if you're interested in more advanced stuff like validated commitments, which include pre-confirmations, base sequencing, etc., etc. All of that ultimately comes back to the L1 validator. And so please reach out and build on SSV because it's the right way to go, both from a purely technical point of view, but also from an economical one.
Amazing. Okay. Wow. This is really exciting. I knew about you, but like all these things like the technologies I didn't actually go into, but now I'm actually thinking this is some really exciting technology.
And it's also important to know that like SSV has been around, we've been developing for quite a while. We've fully launched at the beginning of the year, and now we're already managing 1.4 million ETH.
That's crazy.
It's a very significant amount. We're the fourth or fifth largest staking protocol on Ethereum, and so we're very excited about promoting DVT, and DVT is really becoming a thing. So definitely something I strongly believe in.
Well, in a year's time when we sit down here, what would you like to achieve?
I would like to see the diffusion of DVT as a concept in a much bigger way. I definitely believe SSV will be 2 or 3 times bigger, probably in the top 3 protocols securing Ethereum.
Amazing.
And I think not only that, but also doing more than just, or rather increasing what a validator on L1 can do. And potentially not just Ethereum, maybe other protocols as well.
Oh, that's amazing. I guess the future, I guess, in the world we live in, there's so many interconnected worlds. And if you're going multi-chain, then the future is very bright. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
This was Weaving Web3 at ETH Warsaw, and I was with the most... I've learned so, I don't know, my brain is exploding right now, but I was with the most amazing CEO from SSV Labs, and thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.